Now entering the no bull zone, sponsored by Credible. You get great rates, you don't have to deal with any of the bull. New report, Lamar Jackson is ready to move on from the Ravens. You don't say, bro. I thought an intractable contract quagmire was a love language I didn't know about. Here's the latest odds. Colts, Commanders, Falcons, Patriots, Titans, Lions, even though Jared Goff had a great year. Nick, are you buying that Lamar is ready to move on?
Yes. I think I said this in December when the games were still going on, that Lamar had played his last game with the Ravens. You said love language, and that's interesting because there is a marriage analogy here, or at least an engagement analogy, which is sometimes it works out great, sometimes it works out poorly. But sometimes people propose and get engaged before they are totally certain they should, because if they don't, she's leaving. And we see this happen with quarterbacks all the time.
The record unwise.
So maybe sometimes it's unwise, and sometimes you end up being happily married, and you needed a little push to take the plunge, whatever it is, but we all know that happens. Does anyone think that all of the quarterbacks who get signed after 3 years, their teams are 100% confident it's a good idea? Of course not. With Patrick Mahomes, they were 100% confident. All of these other guys, I'm sure there was someone in the building that was like, don't we want to, we have him under control for 2 more years, and then we have franchise tag options. Don't we want to see it?
I will do it, but put that homework clause
in.
Do
something.
Okay with it then.
So guys who have gotten paid after 3 years recently, Wentz, Goff, Watson, Mahomes, Allen, Kyler. We all think Herbert, Burrow, and Jalen will probably be added to that list this year. Every quarterback that accomplished anything in their rookie contract after 3 years, as soon as they were eligible, got paid. Why? Because teams don't want this to happen. Not because they're certain they're the long-term guy. It's because he's hopefully our long-term guy, and we can't alienate him. The Ravens decided to do it differently and have alienated him. And there's no solving it except for by giving him all the money, and they've decided not to give him any of the money.
Look, I don't like the way this is working out for Lamar, but no, it's not guaranteed he's played his last game for the Ravens. Where's his leverage? He doesn't have the control. Right now, the Ravens are winning. Unless he's in serious conversations with some other team or some other team is really preparing to make a great offer. Because the Ravens can match. And I think that might be part of the reason no team has made an offer.
I believe
because
that's
they
true.
know unless we give them a Deshaun Watson deal or better, they're going to match. They've reportedly, according to Schefter, already offered him $200 million, kind of sort of guaranteed, right?
Yeah, I don't buy that.
If he's turned that down, you know, another team may be like, look, we're not giving him more than $200 million guaranteed in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't control it, Nick.
But do you not think there is tangible negative cost associated with?
I'm sure he's upset, and I'm sure the story said, a source said he seems like he's ready to move on. It wasn't 100% definitive. He can be ready to move on. This is a business.
This is where we always kind of butt heads. It is a business involving human beings. And don't we all agree that in any business, if the leader of your business, the forward face of your business, the most important person in the business, does not want to be there, it creates an environment.
Where is he going to be?
Brew,
I'm just asking.
Brew.
This is a different business, Nick.
Brew, I am not saying that Lamar will be able to force his way out. What I am saying is the Ravens' goal just to say, hey, we won the battle of wills with Lamar Jackson? Or is the Ravens' goal to have the best football team possible, the most conducive to winning? And having Lamar furious with you is guaranteed to make it not work.
So hold on. Does he have competitive pride? People in all walks of life go to jobs they're not happy about. I believe Lamar Jackson, if he signs or plays for the Ravens, that he's gonna say, you know what, I still want to be the best football player I can. I still want to be a Hall of Famer. I still want to win a Super Bowl.
But the Ravens don't. The Ravens have had 2 options, Wilds, two ways to show Lamar, we believe in you and we want to support you. The first one is do what every other young quarterback has gotten, top flight receiver. And they went the opposite. They traded away his number one receiver.
Yeah.
They have spent less
his
money.
number one receiver wanted to leave.
They have spent less money on the position than any team in the league since he was drafted.
They made offers to guys that didn't want to go there.
Okay,
Juju Smith-Schuster took less money to go to Pittsburgh.
I understand, but they could have traded for a guy like A.J.
But
Brown.
Nick, okay, let me ask you this, Nick. If he doesn't get an offer this offseason, and I thought, there's a possibility he could sit out on the franchise tag. But why should he believe if I didn't get an offer all offseason, sitting out is going to help me get an offer? Why should he believe that?
I don't think it's that it will help me get an offer. It's that I will be a year closer to free agency and a year closer to the Ravens saying we're going
$32 million
to lose him for nothing, and we need to cut our losses here. Guys, he has an outsized impact, Wilds, on the locker room. They are trying. We talk all the time about leaders of men and about football being the ultimate team game. And then when it comes to things like this, we pretend like alienating the most popular, important player on the team, is not going to have any impact, Brew, on their ability to win games.
I'm not saying it's the message. What I'm saying is he's not definitely gone. He can be as upset as he wants to be.
But can they win
But where
with an
else
upset
is he
Lamar?
going? Yes.
I don't think
Because if I'm Lamar Jackson, I can be upset, but I still have personal goals.
I guess I just
You can't step on the football field like, man, I'm really not trying to win. No, you got to go out there and do your best.
I can't think of an instance in my lifetime in the NFL where a franchise quarterback is playing for a team because he was held hostage.
How many years, the last few years of Brady's career, did we hear about rumblings? Did we hear about, he's not happy, him and Belichick don't get along?
Every year they adjusted the contract and then he left.
No, he left eventually, but the stories about him being disgruntled came out before that last Super Bowl victory in New England.
And each time that there was the stories about that, including his final year there, they adjusted his contract. They did something to make him at least temporarily happy.
Well, I think they'll give him what needs to happen is if Lamar doesn't get an offer, they need to get back in the negotiating room and work something out. Because I agree he's not happy, but he's still got to play. Everybody.
Unfortunately, well, the Ravens are winning the narrative battle. So we're not going to give that to you. See if you can get it on the open market. And the open market has said, we're also not giving it to you.
Right. So
you
why would he be any happier with another team than with the Ravens? Nobody wants to give him what he wants, apparently.
Unless a deal could be structured to stick it to the Ravens and he's willing to accept it to get out of there.
I don't think he's playing for them again. I think it's been pretty clear since he opted not to play at the end of the regular season.
Remember, Kyler deleted his Instagram, but then was able to play again.
Well, they
$200 million solves a lot.
They don't seem to want to give that to him.
Reactivate your Instagram. Checking in on friend of the show, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh.
Here are some highlights. We also looked at his recent social media activity. Mahomes liked 2 tweets in support of OBJ and future Patriot DeAndre Hopkins actually joining the Chiefs. Nick?
Yeah.
Do the Chiefs need to add a superstar wide receiver?
To win the Super Bowl, they don't have to add anything. To go 20-0, they need a number one.
Again, talk about flirting.
So, listen, the thing is, they are heavily reliant, Brew, on Kelsey, who I just want to remind the audience this. He's the same age as Gronk. He was the only player in the league last year, older than 32, that caught at least 25 passes. So he's 33 years old, which for a pass catcher makes him the oldest productive one in football by a mile. Now, he's been incredibly healthy his entire career, and he seems to only be getting better, but they are incredibly reliant on an aging player who doesn't even play receiver. I would be very surprised, Brew, if they don't end up with one of these two guys. I would lean Odell because the cost is so much less, not just the dollars, but you don't have to trade a draft pick for him. You can just sign him. But I would be very surprised if they don't get one of these guys. And if they sign Odell, it's not to be their number one. They believe Tony is the number one. They are going to play Tony like he's the number one, but it would be to be the number two.
I'm with you to some degree because, look, they didn't have a true number one wide receiver last year.
Correct.
And we all know how that ended. So Kelsey's obviously their number one, and he's so great that you can obviously get away with a number two receiver as your number one. My issue with Kadarius, and he's incredibly talented. But we know the injury history.
Yeah, of
and
course.
he played for him last year and stayed healthy for the most part. But I would be fearful of him being my number one. And I would be fearful of having OBJ kind of as my number one-ish guy because of his health, too.
And D-Hop's old.
Right.
What is he, 33?
I think D-Hop still.
It's 31.
I would rather, of the two, I would rather D-Hop.
Of course.
Do you have you said OBJ.
I would rather D-Hop in a vacuum, but D-Hop at double the salary and trading a second-round pick is very different. You know, and so he's a better player.
Yeah.
But who would you get in the second round, and what could you do with that extra $10 million? Real things. It should be noted. I don't know if you mentioned it. McCole Hardman, McCole and Juju were their top two receivers last year. McCole, just before he went on the air, signed with the Jets, so he'll get to play with Aaron Rodgers.
I do think Sky will be good.
Sky should be better.
Yeah,
Kadarius should be there. Right,
too.
but they need to add something there, and I think they will.
Not DeAndre Hopkins.
Can't go 20-0 without somebody.
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Does DeAndre want to go 20-0 with the
Patrick
Chiefs
Mahomes.
or
That's
9-8
tough
with the
one.
Patriots?
It's a tough one.
Who knows?
If I'm a